Marco is excited for his first task as a true squire. A blowout sale at Quest Buy. Yes, it's another Quest Buy episode. Though at the very least, this one didn't feel derivative of past Quest Buy episodes. Perhaps just as disorganized as past Quest Buy episodes, but at least not derivative of them. Marco meets a bunch of other squires who are actual squires to knights, not to princesses like him. And they seem nice enough at first, but then they get super competitive once the shopping actually starts. There's a limited number of items, and so there is some competition over who is able to get the items first. However, it pretty immediately becomes clear that the other squires don't want Marco to get his hands on the items on his list, even if there are enough to go around. That whatever problem they have, it's personal. It's about Marco himself. And it's revealed later during some dialogue between him and this red-headed girl squire that it's because word has gotten around that Star just kind of arbitrarily made him her squire. That he doesn't really have any of the responsibilities that a regular squire would. And so all these other squires throughout the kingdom feel like he hasn't earned the position. And to be fair, he hasn't. Star did just give him this job. But Marco wants to prove himself. He wants to prove that he's of value to Star in this place that is her home. And that's perfectly understandable, but when he gets a little too competitive, Star actually tells him off. First of all, she doesn't need the stuff on his list anyway because she's not a knight. He's getting stuff that actual knights would need. She explains to him that she gave him this job so that they could spend time together. She doesn't want him to take it seriously. She just wants them to hang out together. But it's because of this that Marco comes to the realization that he can take this seriously, but rather than trying to be the best general squire that he can be, he needs to be the best squire he can possibly be for Star, and they end up buying a bunch of silly stuff instead of the practical stuff that the other squires were buying, and even kind of end up showing them up by the end of the episode. And it was fine. It was a fine episode. It introduced all these different squires and their knights, and they were interesting enough and they were quirky enough that I'm sure in the grand tradition of this show we will see them again, that they will be recurring characters even in just a limited capacity. So that was of course nice. But I was kind of confused through most of this episode regarding what kind of story it was trying to tell. I mean, yeah, it does end on the note that Marco needs to be the best squire for Star, not necessarily the best squire overall, and that was fine. But I didn't really feel like that grew organically from the story as much as it could have, that this story earned that message as well as it could have, if that makes sense. It just felt a little disorganized, which I guess maybe it was supposed to. These Quest Buy episodes tend to be pretty disorganized. But between how disorganized it felt and the fact that I'm not really a fan of the Quest Buy setting anyway, this came off to me as one of the weaker episodes of this season so far. Though it is worth noting that it seems that my prediction in my previous review was correct, that we have now sort of reestablished the status quo, and that going forward we're going to get fewer episodes that are purely set up for later episodes with some story sprinkled in, and more individual stories like we used to get back in Season 2. And that's really all I have to say about this one. It wasn't terrible, but I certainly hope this isn't the new standard for quality for the rest of the season or anything. That said, though, guys, as per usual, I'd like to know, what did you think of this episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil, if you have seen it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.